Go ahead, guys.
Obviously, plenty of people are going to talk expectations. For some of the new additions, with this stage, I guess what are fair expectations for this team?
I mean, we always want to compete for championships in the Big East, and if, as I've said before, if you can do that, then everything else has a way of kind of working itself out. And I think we have some experience, and certainly we have to integrate some of the new guys into what we're doing. But I love their work ethic, I love their approach. So we'll see what happens.
How's that? Good group coming back. Is that in terms of that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think they probably learned a little bit from last year maybe as well, and they're, a lot of them are a year older. Kalkbrenner's in his fourth year, Baylor's in his fifth year, Farabello in his fifth year. So you've got guys that, and Trey in his third year. So Stephen Ashworth in his fourth year. So we've got guys that have played a lot of college basketball and understand the peaks and valleys that go with a season, and also understand that preseason stuff doesn't mean a whole lot.
How important is it for the age stale, or get old stale, that mantra now?
I mean, it's important, but I also think it's important to have some guys grow up in your program. And we're fortunate that, Trey and Kalk have been here since the beginning. Mason's been here since the beginning. And Baylor's been here a couple of years, as is Bello. But I think you have to have a balance between guys that have started here, went through the process of learning and growing under our tutelage. And I just think they have a way of maybe understanding the culture and passing that culture on to the newcomers a little bit better in terms of what's acceptable and what's not. So that's why we signed a decent high school class numbers-wise last year, and we're on our way to doing that again this year. So we'll plug in transfers when we need to, but I would still like the majority of our program be guys that we recruit out of high school.
How much easier is it for you to plug in the new point guard when you have so much experience around it and everybody else knows what the deal is?
Yeah, I think that helps. Just the fact that there's enough of those guys around that really understand where to be on the floor, and the reality of it is Steven's really easy to play with. He makes good decisions. He doesn't need to dominate the basketball. He shoots the ball at a really high level, and he's a great teammate. So you put that together, and I think that's allowed him to fit in extremely well and really at a faster pace than I probably anticipated.
You mentioned the guys that played some college basketball and that are growing here in the program. What did you ask them, if anything, to show the guys who are new?
Just a consistent approach. And sometimes practices this time of year, they can be a little boring because they've been through it several times, but it's part of the process. The fundamental drills that you have to do for the new guys to kind of catch on from a spacing standpoint and a terminology standpoint. So guys they're forced to go through stuff they've already known and they've already learned, and that can become tedious at times and really boring. So I've really challenged them to help us maybe move the process along faster for the younger guys by making sure you're engaged in what we're doing. And that when you're standing on the side, when they're in line, you're talking them through it and helping them through it so that maybe we can move a little bit faster through the practice season than we have in the past. Ooh. I've always enjoyed this time of year. It's my favorite time of the year. The excitement, and you got the guys that are new to your program. Their eyes are wide open, and they're trying to learn, and you're helping them through some challenging times at times because it's not easy. When you're thinking a lot, you're not moving the way you're supposed to do. You're not reacting the way you're supposed to react. But watching that process and watching some of the things that we practice on a daily basis become habits, that's what takes place here the first month, and that's why I got into coaching to begin with.
Larry Johnson's announced his commitment to the second four-star next year. Anything you can say on his game? And
I can't comment on recruits until they sign.
The foreign trip, obviously, you feel like you're farther ahead now. You're not teaching as much this first couple of days.
Yeah, I mean, we're still teaching a lot of the same things, but not as long. Shorter stints of some fundamental drill work. But in terms of our transition offense and the understanding of what we're trying to do there, the spacing on offense. I think they get that. The unselfish part of it has never been a problem with this group going back to the summer. They share the basketball extremely well.
Two more.
Not only that, but I mean, the scoring that you return, transfer portal era is not necessarily common. You get 75% of that coming back, and the experience. I mean, overall, do you guys just feel like you're ahead of the game a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, every year you're going to have to adjust because we lost a couple of guys we didn't think we were going to lose, but you can mope about it or you can do something about it and try to fill those spots. And fortunately, we were able to do that. And then nobody knew what Trey and Kalk were going to do right till the end. And had they had a guaranteed deal that made sense, they'd have stayed in the draft, and I would have supported that 100%. But they feel like they can improve their stock by coming back a year. So obviously, we owe it to them to make sure we're putting them in a position where not only our team can be successful, but that they can show the growth in their game as well. Anything else?
Mac, I won't ask about specific groups, but I am curious. We talk about the transfer portal area. I guess what's kept you guys so locked in on the approach to not only recruit so highly when people can easily grab transfers, but keep guys in the program and further the program?
Yeah, I mean, it's a process, and you preach that process during the recruiting process as well. Everybody's into how you play and the style you play and where you fit, but also I think the development piece of our program. I think young people have seen that, Trey Alexander's growth from his freshman year to his sophomore year, and now he's made another step moving into his junior year. And Ryan Kalkbrenner from someone that could barely play 2 minutes at a time as a freshman that's playing 30-plus minutes and is an All-American. So that I think the player development piece has been really huge for us. And allowed us to continue to attract high-level high school players. But, we'll continue. We've got a fair amount of transfers out here as well, and that'll continue to be a part of our program. But I don't want it to be 80% of our program. I want it to be, if we need to fill a spot, if we've got a gap in our roster that we have to fill, we'll go the transfer route. Otherwise, we'll try to build it with these high school guys.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Is that good? Is that better? Go ahead with questions for Ben.
Yeah, it is. Appreciate it. Thank you. Nah, just a text message. That's about it.
What is this like, having gone through this, it's not your first rodeo for you, obviously, and here, knowing the pieces and parts, and everybody having a mature team.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a lot different feeling than last year, at least for me, obviously. It's my second year here, kind of know what to expect in terms of practice, what the coaches expect of us. And so kind of just being able to be that vocal leader to the new guys that we do have. But yeah, just really excited to get going.
Obviously, last year, you were new to the program. Now you guys have an expectation. You're one of the few guys who actually knows what's going on despite getting here a year ago. What's that change in dynamic?
I like it personally. I'm just, like I said, more comfortable in my role, what the coaches expect from me on the court, and that kind of just allows me to play more free of mind and not have to just kind of overthink everything. So, yeah.
How much more confident are you guys going into the season? I mean, not only veterans, but, returning, 75% of your scoring. That doesn't happen a lot right now with the transfer portal. I mean, just can you speak to the level of confidence this team has with all that in mind?
Yeah, we're very confident. Obviously, myself coming back, Kalkbrenner and Trey, 3 big key pieces on that team last year, and then adding pieces like Isaac and Steven and Jonathan and Mason taking big steps this offseason. It's really exciting for us as a group, and I think this group is very close together, especially off the court, which always helps on the court.
Speaking of confidence, last year it felt like you were trying to adjust to your new shot diet compared to what you were doing at South Dakota.
Yeah.
I guess how is that journey coming along for you, and where do you feel like you're at
Yeah,
now?
I feel like I'm in a lot better spot than last year, and I credit the work I did this offseason. And that was kind of my whole deal with not going to the draft, kind of just being able to stay back and kind of just work on areas of improvement that I knew that I needed to improve on coming into this year, just to be more comfortable in that role, and that's where I feel like I'm at. Yeah, I cut it a couple weeks ago maybe. I don't know, I just did it. My brother did it for football. He told me I should do it. At the end of the day, it's just hair. It'll grow back, for me anyway. Maybe not for Mike, but anyway. No, I got it done. I didn't do it. No. Yeah, no.
Hey, about expectations, you guys had big expectations last year. This year there might be a little more meat behind it given the run that you made. How do you guys block it out and focus on the day-to-day?
Yeah, well, I think, like you said, it's a day-to-day process. The season's very long. You have to approach every day with the same mindset. If you skip days, that's where you fall up. And I think last year going through the adversity that we did, especially early in the season, was just a good learning process for us, especially coming into this year with the expectations that we have. And yeah, like I said, it's just it's a long season. Your goal is to stay consistent throughout the year, continuing to grow, and to do that, you just have to attack every day.
Considering the new additions and pieces to stay, do you feel like you guys will need that kind of adjustment period like you had early last season?
I don't think necessarily. I think a lot of what happened last year, especially with the losing skid, was Colt got mono, which that doesn't happen often, So I don't think necessarily a big learning curve for our team this year. Steven's been great, and he's very easy to play with, knows how to play. So I think we're good in that aspect.
One more for Baylor. You good? Good. Thank you.
Yep.
Over the offseason, I guess, how do you see yourself on the floor alongside?
It's a pretty natural connection. I mean, he's a great leader, just very natural point guard, obviously. So it's a very natural, seamless connection there. So obviously, with any new player, it might take a second, but it's going to be really, really good going into the season with him.
You've been through this enough times. Do you have a different mindset being a new season? You had summer training, whatever, but getting through this fall camp, the game's still far away, but it's now kind of putting up time. Or how do you make it through?
I think you just get used to the real practices leading up to the games. I was thinking about this the other day. My freshman year, I was gassed after every practice, and you're just exhausted. And now you're still tired, but it's not as bad. Just the longer you're in college, the more used to it you get, and then you can try to help the younger guys along because, like I was saying, I remember my freshman and sophomore year, I was just everywhere this time of year.
How do you deal with the outside expectations? Because a lot of people are going to be talking some stuff about you guys, high rankings, whatever. How do you handle that?
Well, I think we had a lot of the similar stuff last year in terms of high expectations and people talking about us and whatnot. So I guess you get a little more used to that, and it doesn't. It's always cool and nice when people do that, but at the end of the day, you got to go out and win games. So I think it's just staying consistent with our approach to things and not really trying to listen to that too much.
How do you introduce that out there as opposed to the young guys or the guys who are just coming in and kind of seeing everything's happening to the program over the last year?
Yeah, I think it's just about, Mac started like a great culture in this program, and it's for the older guys just to keep that culture in line, and usually the young guys will see that and kind of fall in line with that. It makes it pretty easy when all the older guys are all on the same page, and the younger guys just see that, and we can kind of lead by example for them.
How have you really had a chance to digest and chew on how last season ended? And what's the feeling now going into this year, trying to avenge that and come up with a different result?
I mean, you always want to go all the way and win the national championship, so any loss is going to hurt, but you kind of just it'll make you work a little harder. But I think in this program especially, we try to approach every single day the same way, and it's always with high intensity, being locked in and doing everything the right way. So I don't really think it changes what we do drastically. We might be a little more locked in and try and work a little harder, but I think we just try to stay consistent here.
What have you been working on in the offseason? How have you best tried to grow and develop your game?
Same things it seems to always be, getting stronger and shooting the ball better, which I think has come a long way. I think I'm setting myself up good for this year.
Two more for Ryan.
Ryan, obviously, with the loss of Art Show, maybe some athleticism, maybe Ashworth. What are some of the obvious tweaks and maybe the on-floor approach and that start lineup that you've seen take place there?
Obviously, like you said, Nemhard, Art, great players, and we got Steven to replace Nemhard, and both of them are great players. Steven just plays a little different than Nemhard, so we get to do a little bit different things. And then as far as the four spot, Mason and Isaac will do a great job in that spot. I think, obviously, I didn't see Isaac all last year, but he's come in and impressed. And just knowing Mason the past few years, he looks like he's ready to take a big jump this year and become a really, really good player. So I'm really excited for them.
What feels
just feel like we're getting to be an old team. Like, obviously my freshman year we were really old, and then my sophomore and junior year we're kind of a young team. And now it kind of feels like everyone's walking in the door knowing exactly what they need to do and knowing exactly what's expected of them. And it just kind of feels like we've got some experience behind us this year.